So in this video, we're going to see how to set up FTP on a Mac. And we're going to be using the same software as in Windows. So that is Firefox and Fire FTP. So first off, in Chrome, if you haven't already got it, then Google download Firefox. And just click on the top result there. And click the big free download button. And I'm just going to download it here to my desktop. It shouldn't take too long. But while we're waiting, I'll just tell you that if you haven't used it before, Firefox is an alternative browser. It's quite highly used, so it's worth having on your system to be able to check to make sure your websites look good in Firefox as well as Chrome. But one of the best things about it is it has a huge add-on and plugin ecosystem. And one of my favorite plugins is Fire FTP, which allows you to connect to your websites using FTP. So that's now downloaded. So click on the DMG file that's downloaded, and that will open up the Firefox installer, and you'll be able to go through the installation process. And then you'll get something like this, and you just need to drag Firefox over into your applications. Now, I'm not actually going to do that because I already have Firefox installed, but it's a very straightforward process from there. Just click next, and then when it finishes installing, open up Firefox, and you'll be presented with something like this. So it looks like many other browsers that we've seen before, and it obviously works in the same way, but we're going to jump straight to downloading Fire FTP. So I would give that a quick Google and then click on the top result, addons.mozilla.org, and then click on the green Add to Firefox button. Now, once again, I've already got Fire FTP installed on my system, so I can't go through the installation process, but again, it's just a matter of clicking next. You may have to restart Firefox to finish the installation. All right, we're almost there. So now that you've installed Fire FTP, we're going to add it to our menu bar up here. So you need to control click on the toolbar area, not on any one of the actual icons, and then click Customize. And this gives you the option to customize the icons that appear up here. And I'm going to take Fire FTP and drag it up to the top there. Then click Exit Customize at the bottom, and you should be back in Firefox, but with the Fire FTP icon showing. So now we're going to click on Fire FTP, and you should see something like this. So on the left here, we've got a directory on your computer. For me, it's my desktop. And on the right is where we'll see the files on our server when we connect to it. So how do we connect? Well, you've got Create an Account selected in the drop-down menu there. So just click Connect, and you should see the Account Manager pop up. And this is where we put the details of our FTP connection in. And we can get those from our control panel. So on the right, underneath Unlock FTP, go down and look at the FTP details. So the username is just the domain name. So in my case, robpercivalstesthostingpackage.com. So back over, I'm going to put that as the login. The password, you click on the link there and then select the password. Paste that in. And the host is ftp.stackcp.com. We'll type that in there. And I would actually put the domain name in as the account name as well, so that you can refer to it later on. And that's it. So then click OK. There is one more thing we need to do before we can connect, and that is unlock FTP. Now, Eco Web Hosting have a security feature that FTP is locked automatically after a certain time to prevent anyone else getting access to your files. So we either have to unlock FTP by time, and obviously the longer you choose here, the more risky it is in terms of someone else getting hold of your FTP login details and being able to access your files. Or we can unlock by IP address, which you can use if you know you have a fixed IP address on your computer. You can check with your internet provider whether that's the case, but for now, I'm just going to unlock for 1 hour. There we go. And now we go back over to Fire FTP and click Connect. And here we go. So now you can see the files that we saw in the file manager in the previous video. And if we look at public HTML, we can see we've got our index file in there. Now, one thing you may have noticed about our Hello World page is that the image didn't display. Now that's because we didn't upload the image file to our web hosting. So let's do that now using FTP. So I'm going to go into the Complete Web Developer course folder and then number 1 HTML, and there's my earth.jpg file. So I'm going to click the right arrow to upload it, and then it's now on the server. So if I go back over and refresh the page using Command R, I can now, with any luck, see the image. There it is. So we're almost done, but there's one more thing I'd like to show you, and that's the real reason that I recommend using Fire FTP over the other available FTP clients out there. So Fire FTP allows you to edit files directly on the server, which means you can click save in your text editor and it will save directly on the server, which makes creating and editing websites much easier. There is a very small risk involved with that if you have a flaky connection, occasionally a save won't be registered and you'll actually lose the content of the page. But that's only happened to me very rarely, and I find it doesn't outweigh the convenience of being able to edit this way. Having said that, you should always have a backup of your website files so that if you do lose something, you can just re-upload without losing all your work. So how do we open a file now text editor from Fire FTP? Well, it's very easy, but before we do so, we have to make sure that the file extension, so in this case .html, is associated with our text editor on our computer. So that means if we double clicked on an HTML file in the Finder, would it open it up in our text editor? And to make sure that that's the case, go over to Finder and find any HTML page. Doesn't matter which one it is. It doesn't matter which. So I'm going to take my webpage.html and then control click on that web page and click Get Info. And then in the Open With section, you may need to click on the arrow to open it up. You can select the program that you want to open it up with. And if you haven't edited your system before, it's probably going to be Chrome, Firefox, or Safari. So you need to make sure that you've selected brackets, or if you've chosen a different text editor, then you've chosen that text editor there. And then you just click Change All. And that will then change all files with an extension of HTML to open in your text editor. All right, so now that we've done that, we can go back to Firefox and click Command O to open the file, and control click and open, or we can also use Command and O to open the file in our text editor. And there it is. So now if we want to edit this file live on the web, for example, if I want to put a full stop at the end of that H2, then we just use Command S to save, and you can see it's updating live on the website itself. And if we go back over to Chrome and refresh the page, you can see that that change has happened live on the web. So that's how I do most of my website editing, and I recommend that's how you do it too. Bear in mind that when you start using other file extensions, such as .css or .php, you'll need to go through the same process in Finder and make sure that you've control clicked, get info, and then make sure that they're all opening with brackets. Otherwise, when you use control click and open, they won't necessarily open in the right editor. And that's it. So now, if you like, you can actually work for the whole course live on the web and use this setup to edit your page live on the web on the right and view the output on the left. I'm going to carry on working on the desktop just because it's a little bit faster, but you've got the power to work live now if you want to. Great. So I hope you're clear on how FTP works and how we can use Fire FTP to upload and update files on our web space immediately. And without further ado, let's get back to the code and learn some CSS.